Oh, hi. Welcome to my channel. Sorry if I sound a little bit nervous. This is my first video, so, the nerves are getting to me. Pranked. Pranked. You've just been pranked. Epically. This is not my first video, this is my third video. Okay? 3. Had to make sure I was holding up the right amount of fingers, that make 3, because if I wasn't, that would be pretty embarrassing. For you, I mean, because you just got pranked, so that is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm sure we can move past it. I am no level 1 noob, but what I am is officially 19 years of age. Well, I have been for 3 months, which is young overall, but it's ancient when it comes to teen years. It's the final teen year. It's not 20, it's 20. Throughout my years of being a radical teenager, I've made countless mistakes along my journey of trying to be successful. The likelihood is that you will too, regardless of how much wisdom you absorb. Mistakes are inevitable, but far more likely for men like you and I who maybe want a bit more out of life. Fortunately, for those of you who are still aged between 13 and 18, I've chosen the best possible one piece of advice that I could think of for each teen year so that you can avoid as many mistakes as you possibly can. Of course, you can still take the advice from each of the teen years regardless of age. I just believe that the ones that I've chosen for each age fits best, so go crazy with it. In a lot of my videos, I'm going to be incorporating my CPA method. At the end of each piece of advice, there will be a countdown at the top of the screen. As that countdown ticks, I'll be giving you some specific action that I want you to take. When a countdown gets to 0, there will be a pause screen that will allow you to pause and take the action necessary before continuing with the rest of the video. This gives the video so much more value to you, as you'll actually be forced to do something, forced to take some action. You'll be productively consuming, and you won't just be sat there like a zombie. When I was 13 years old, which I believe is year 8 in the UK, I had 2 close friends who we'll call Gerald Eva and Clam. Anyway, Gerald Eva and Clam were what you would probably call nerds. Sounds mean, but listen, I was a part of this group, so I'm dissing myself here. I had other friends outside of this trio, including ones that I would play football with at lunch sometimes. But for the most part, the only 2 friends that I felt really comfortable around and confident around were Gerald Eva and Clam. Most days we would spend in the library at break time and lunchtime, attempting to make really shitty games on Scratch and just talking about video games, memes. I wasn't popular, and I didn't really care to be, mainly because I strongly believed in that notion that being unpopular is okay, and it is. However, what isn't okay is choosing to be a complete social reject. Now, funny enough, the advice that I'm about to give you might completely contradict what you believe, depending on the other advice that you've been given. You should care about being popular in high school. Confidence and popularity are 2 things that would have made my life 10 times easier throughout high school, and I knew that deep down. It was just buried by all this stupid advice of just being the quiet kid who keeps to himself. And you have to understand, human interaction and social confidence is crucial for mental health. Popularity and confidence is something that we have been told is completely fine to lack, and more so, popularity more than confidence, we've been told is kind of bad. We've been told it's kind of wrong to want to be popular or to be popular. Don't get me wrong, not everyone wants to be popular. A lot of people would prefer to have a more closed off life where they sort of keep to themselves, keep their circle small, and I think that's very healthy too. It's all just personal preference. But even people who do prefer that more closed off lifestyle need social confidence, need the ability to communicate with other humans when they want or need to. Too many men have been indoctrinated by this cringe sigma male bullshit of not caring what anyone thinks of you and acting like you aren't even attracted to women, trying to play this sort of mysterious character of having your hood up and your funk music blasting in your ear. You do realise that if you do this, you don't look like Christian Bale playing Patrick Bateman, you look like a knob. So stop it. Confidence and popularity status should matter to you, but it shouldn't drown or consume you. Of course, it goes without saying, but I understand that people have social anxiety issues, and of course the circumstances differ in that case. Right now I want you to take some action, which means there's a little timer that's just popped up somewhere on the screen. I want you to get some paper. If you don't have paper, then go into your phone reminder and just write down that you want to speak to one new person at school tomorrow. It could be someone you sit next to in lesson. It doesn't have to be a girl. If it is a girl, then I think that's extra points, because that's, it takes even more confidence and even more discipline. I run out of breath then. It takes even more confidence and discipline to go and speak to a girl. It can just be anyone. You know, just ask for the time, or if it's someone you're sitting next to in class, ask for the answer to something, or a pencil. Just speak to one new person and repeat that every day that you can. Let me teach you something about how money is earned. Most of the time, money is the exchange of a service or product, with a large percentage of products providing their own service. So that still counts as money being the exchange of a service. With this basic knowledge, we can cook up the very simple formula of service equal money, and good service equal more money. With that being said, the amount of 14-year-old kids I see attempt to start and run a business is pretty insane. Most of these projects obviously flop. However, I have seen a few kids get very successful, usually when they go into a product-based model like dropshipping or something, and then they get lucky. It seems like my advice here is going to be to just simply wait until you're older to start trying to make money. That's not the case. I think trying to make money and trying to start that journey of a successful life from the ages of 13, 14 and 15 is fantastic. However, you have to be aware that as a 14-year-old young man, in this day and age specifically, you're probably going to have a very little number of skills that you can translate into a service that you can then provide to anyone with the money or attention that you want. The only thing that's going to allow you to unlock new skills in this life is experience. A little bit like a video game, actually. The way that you level up your skills, the way that you level up as a person is through experience. The same applies in real life. The only way you're ever going to build any skills is through life experience. And what I mean by this is, number one, spend a lot of time with your friends. So just go and do a bunch of stupid shit. Go camping, go explore a haunted building, going on bike rides and actually experiencing like a little bit of fear, you know, like obviously not, you know, I'm not telling you to go and do anything really dangerous, but just experiencing a little bit of adrenaline, you know, as a young man. Number two, continue to self-improve. So going to the gym and building your physique, researching and watching more content on health, reading more books, meditating, whatever kind of habits, just keep doing those. And number three, dabbling in and experimenting with different business models without obsessing over the result, and instead just treating it purely like an experiment. If you obsess over the results with a business from a very young age, which is very likely to happen, you won't get very many. Life experiences is what translates to money. You can't run an agency and catch the attention of clients without having some sort of experience in their niche. You can't build a self-improvement channel without having been on self-improvement for a very long time, endured mistakes. You would have no experience to share as your service. No experience equals no service equals no money. It's as simple as that. Once again, I want you to take some action, which means scary time has come back. Grab your phone and text either one of your friends or a group chat. I want you to plan for all of you to do something fun. You be the leader here. You be the leader of the pack. You plan where to go, what you're going to do, how everyone's going to get there. It can be something little, it can be something big like camping. Just you take charge, you be the leader. Strengthen those leadership skills as well as those, you know, communication skills, companionship skills. Get experiences. 15. Now, this piece of advice will definitely trigger some Sigma males out there. Women. Women. Whoa, men. Huh? Well, pause. In all seriousness, when I was 15, I had 15 girlfriends. I'm kidding. I was only 14 at once. Classic. I had a huge interest in girls at this age, as you do, as a 15-year-old male, and actually ended up having about 2 or 3 girlfriends, not to flex or anything, all of which obviously didn't last, but it still gave me this kind of experience with not only speaking to and communicating to women, but also how to act when you're actually in a relationship. Now, obviously, the relationships you'll get into at this age are going to be far different to the more mature relationships you'll find yourself getting into, and so maybe you don't want a relationship, and that's completely fine. I think that's actually clever, but nonetheless, every 15-year-old boy should be communicating to and speaking to women regularly, or I say women, girls, even maybe girls a little bit older if you're confident enough. Much like the advice I gave for 13-year-olds, men communicating to and having a relationship with their polar gender is very healthy. It should be reinforced to the moon and back. It should be so normal for, you know, young men and women to just communicate and interact more. Humans interacting with other humans is obviously very healthy in general, but as men, it's crucial that we get that experience with talking to and interacting with women, even if it's just as friends, or if you go on like some cute 15-year-old date to the cinema or something. I remember I went on like a really cute cinema date with this girl when I was 15, and it's just obviously nothing came from it, but it was just wholesome. Now, if you're the kind of guy who is religious, or maybe just wants to hold on to your value when it comes to kissing or sex or something, by all means do that. That's exactly what I did. Just make sure you're very confident with girls and that you're actively trying to attract them, even if you're not currently in the search for a relationship. This is another thing that has been crushed by the grindset idiots who are just telling you that the only things that matter are money and gym. Right now I have some more action for you. God, what is it, Christmas? Is it Christmas time? Because I'm giving you so much action right now. That sounds dodgy, so I'm not going to say that again. Grab your phone, just message a girl from your class about homework. Like I said, nothing has to come from it at all. Just build up that confidence and that discipline to do so. You never know, you might get an answer. You might get aired for a week, and if you get aired for a week, it sucks, but guess what, it happens. Just don't send anything really dodgy, because then if you get aired for a week, you've probably also been sent to a few group chats. Been there. No, I haven't. Have I? I would never know, actually. I would really, maybe. That's the thing, I never know. Oh dear. That's terrifying. I hope not. One thing that you can do is, if you're someone who took the previous advice and started inviting some of your friends out on a day out, invite some girls too. Then it looks a little bit less suspicious, right? Because it's just disguised as like a group outing. You can just text them and say like, yo, what's good, shorty? You trying to come camping with me and the boys? Or however young people talk. I feel ancient. I feel old. And hopefully go out on a big group thing and then just practice talking and communicating with them then, just as friends. "16. This is the age in the UK where you leave school and either go to college or do A-levels or an apprenticeship or something. The issue with the way the system works in the UK is, unless you were successfully indoctrinated by the school curriculum or you knew your God-sent purpose for many years, you're likely in a position where you have no idea what you want to do. This is the position I was in. I finished high school around COVID times, so GCSE sit-ins were cancelled. Summer after finishing high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I remember just about getting into a creative media course in a college, which was like a stepping stone to the main course that I wanted to do, which was performing arts. Either way though, with me wanting to do that performing arts course, I was still very lost with what I actually wanted to do. You likely don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life at 16. This is why I advise that at this age, if you haven't already, you begin to study purpose and seek your passions. I advise that if you don't have any idea of what you want to do after high school, you do one of two options. You either write down a list of your passions and pursue one of those in the form of a college course or something for a year, or you opt to take an entire leap year from education if you have an open-minded family who would, maybe support you and even financially assist you. I did one thing right in my story. After the first college course that I did, which I said was like a stepping stone, I followed one of my passions, which was acting. I enrolled into the performing arts course. During that time, I found self-improvement and a newfound passion for business. With that came the studying of purpose and what it means to have one as a man. Now I'm 19 years old, still learning, still searching, still peeling back those layers to find myself a purposeful, fulfilling, happy life. I believe that every man has a purpose. Certainly every man that is opting to watch these kind of videos anyway. So I'm talking to you, my friend, you have a purpose. You have a purpose, and it's quite likely that it can be linked actually to one of your current passions. So take the time necessary to study it, think it through and experiment, because there are broke individuals who are happier than billionaires, because the difference is purpose, or more so feeling purposeful. If you truly love what you do and you constantly feel like your service is of use and of necessity to the world in some way, that's the only life worth living, I think, as opposed to just what the more popular dream life is in this day and age, where you kind of just consume and mope around. With that being said, I want to make this advice clear for anyone that is outside of the UK, so I don't want this advice to be specific to people that are just in the UK and finish high school at 16. Take this advice if you are from America or from Australia, or from one of the other 195 countries on the planet, except you just wouldn't have finished high school. You'll still be in high school, you'll still be in education, but you still study purpose. At 16, this is where you study your purpose. You start finding your passions, writing down your passions, studying what it means to be purposeful and how purpose works, and then you eventually find a purpose layer. With all of that being said, I think it's action time. Right now, I want you to grab some paper again. If not paper, use your notes on your phone. Write down 3 or 4 of your passions. Now, really take your time on this one. Really, just spend a good 5 minutes just really thinking about this specific piece of action. After you get those 3 or 4 passions, I want you to think of 3 or 4 jobs or professions that can go with those passions. Then I want you to close your eyes and imagine yourself in each of those professions. Think about how much you'd enjoy the actual work of it, the actual practicality and theory of that job. Think of how much impact you'd be able to bring to people you love or just the world in general. Think of how your home life and family would look if you had this job. Think of how purposeful you'd feel waking up in the morning, going to this job, or if it's working from home, just going to your desk. Obviously it takes a whole lot more than just this sort of writing down 3 or 4 things and then closing your eyes and thinking about it, but I think this is a good start. Let's assume the next piece of advice that I'm going to give comes after the last piece of advice, when you've maybe found your first purpose layer. Now you grind. This is the age where I think it's best to put your head down and actually work on something meaningful, something different from school. You begin to fully pursue your passions and even begin to make money so that you continue to comfortably pursue your passions. At this age, you should have a much better and more developed understanding on how the world works, how money works, and how everything works. When I was 17, I knew how to make money online because at this point I'd studied, had a really good idea of which model I wanted to pursue, and was confident in my knowledge to make something of it. What was my mistake? That I didn't pursue. I just procrastinated. I just let other things get in the way. I let college get in the way. I let family get in the way. It was excuse after excuse. I just started and put enough time into each thing that I tried back then, and would be much further in my journey now. Don't allow yourself to make the same mistake. Align with your passions and put your foot on the gas. Really take it off when it starts to feel really, really hopeless. Some action that I want anybody in this specific position to take right now. Leave this video before it even ends and go and start. So now you're officially an adult, 18 years of age. That was me last year, or I suppose 4 months ago. If you're 18 years old watching this and you're in a position where you feel successful and great, awesome. That's not going to be the case for the majority of you. With that being said, I understand firsthand how much pressure comes down to young men at the age of 18, and even younger actually, when it comes to entrepreneurship and success and making money. There are more and more self-made millionaires, 18-year-olds popping up everywhere, and because this isn't you, because you're not even close, you might feel like time is running out. I'm here to tell you that this really isn't the case. You have to remind yourself that 18 is still very young. Realistically speaking, you have all the time in the world. As long as you put your head down and stay on a mostly upward trajectory, the next few years you will do very well. However, that's not to say get comfortable, get complacent, and stop feeling angry. Be angry to an extent. Be angry that, these guys who are your competition, that part is true, that they are your competition. They're making it. They're doing better than you. Allow that to fuel you. You should constantly be harsh with yourself. You should constantly be real and harsh with yourself. But to the extent I felt disappointed in myself, just fed me with negative motivation. And obviously you can say like, oh well, we don't need motivation, we just need discipline. Be lying to yourself if you said that you would love to have 10% more motivation every single day. Also, money is good, but as I said before, money won't make you very happy. I'm not speaking as a millionaire myself or anything. I'm just going based off of what I've learned, what I've heard from actual millionaires. Purpose will make you happy. Purpose will make you feel purposeful and virtuous. Money, of course it would make you happy, but it wouldn't fulfill your life in any way. At least I can imagine. The last bit of action that I want you to take for this video is to just pick up your journal. If you don't have a journal, then just use paper If you don't have paper, just use your phone. Write down some sentences of self-assurance. Write about how you accept that other guys are in the position that you want to be in right now. Write about how that angers you, but also just write about you aren't going to let that consume you, because allowing that to consume you, you know will be your downfall. You know it will break you even more. Be nice to yourself a little bit, alright? You have time. Jeez. There we have it. One piece of advice for every teen year, except 19, because I'd have to wait until I was 20 to make that. Obviously view every piece of advice as just advice from a 19-year-old with his own mistakes and experiences. Don't view it as some sort of plan or blueprint, even though at some points in the video I might have sounded that way. I'm on this journey learning just as you are, and so I really appreciate if you've made it to this part of the video. Comments, likes, shares, subscribes even, or subs are very appreciated, so do that. Smash that freaking like button. If we get to 0.8 likes, I will sell my spleen on Fiverr. Ciao.